She stands over him in the moonlight, knife trembling in her hand. One thrust to the heart. His blood spatters her feet. Her legs transform back into a tail. She lives. She hesitates. The blade falls into the waves. And with it, any chance she had at existence itself. This is the real ending of The Little Mermaid. Not a wedding, not a kiss, a suicide. But here's what will disturb you even more. Hans Christian Andersen wrote this scene while planning his own death. The year was 1836. He was in love with a man who would never love him back, and he was about to pour that agony into a fairy tale that would traumatize children for generations. Today, I'm going to show you what Disney desperately tried to hide. A story of self-mutilation, coded queer suffering, and a punishment so cruel it makes hell look merciful. Because The Little Mermaid isn't a romance. It's a horror story about the violence we inflict on ourselves when the world tells us we're not allowed to exist as we are. By the end of this video, you'll understand three things. First, why European sailors feared mermaids as omens of death. Second, what Andersen's mermaid actually sacrificed, and it's far worse than her voice. And third, the autobiographical confession hidden in plain sight that reveals this was never about a mermaid at all. Let's start with the blood. Before Andersen wrote his tale, mermaids meant one thing in European culture. Your death was already decided. July 14th, 1782. Off the coast of the Hebrides Islands, the Scottish merchant brig Maria's Blessing encounters something in the water. The first mate's log describes it in shaking handwriting. A woman's face rising above the waves, hair streaming like kelp, eyes that held neither malice nor mercy, but were empty as the void between stars. The crew didn't try to capture her. They fell to their knees and prayed. Captain Thomas McGregor wrote, "The men are certain we are doomed. I have no argument against their certainty, for I felt it too when our eyes met. She was not looking at us. She was looking through us, at something we could not see. Our deaths, perhaps, already written in a ledger we cannot read." 6 days later, the ship struck rocks during a sudden squall. Every soul aboard perished. This wasn't an isolated incident. The HMS Gloucester's manifest from 1682 contains 17 separate mermaid sightings in the North Sea. Each one was followed within 72 hours by the loss of vessels in their convoy. Naval commanders began documenting these encounters with clinical precision, noting the exact time, position, and sea conditions. They were building a database of doom. But these oceanic death omens were just the beginning, because in European folklore, some mermaids didn't just predict death, they died for love, and their deaths were far more disturbing. In 1811, German author Friedrich de la Motte Fouquet published a novella called Undine. The protagonist is a water spirit who lacks a soul and can only gain one through marriage to a mortal man. She succeeds. She marries the knight Hildebrand. For a time, they're happy. Then he betrays her with another woman. Undine returns one final time, rising from a well in the castle courtyard. She appears at his bedside, hair dripping onto his chest. She leans close and presses a kiss to his lips. He begins to gasp, to choke. His lungs fill with water even though he's on dry land. He drowns in his own bed while Undine dissolves into a spring that flows eternally around his grave. There's actually a medical condition named after this, Undine's curse. It's a disorder where you stop breathing in your sleep. You suffocate. The body forgets how to perform its most basic function. That's what betrayed love does in these stories. It makes you forget how to survive. The French tale of Melusine adds another layer of body horror. She's cursed to transform into a serpent from the waist down every Saturday. Count Raymond marries her under one condition. He must never look upon her during these transformations. Years pass. Suspicion eats at him. One Saturday, he drives his sword through her chamber door to spy. There she is, writhing in a copper